Now let us try to understand what are balanced forces. The term balanced forces itself says the forces are balanced. They are balanced on the both the sides. That is why the object will not move either left nor towards the right. So you can see in the example here, there is a force F acting towards the left of the object, and the same force F is also being applied towards the right of the object. So in this case, you're trying to pull the object in opposite directions. As a result, the forces are balanced. So if you look at across your mathematical way, towards my right, let us say it's positive, and towards left it is negative. So plus F minus F, and the resultant is 0. So in this case, the net force is 0. So if you pull the block from both sides with the same force, the block remains stationary. So it does not move. The reason is simple. The net force is 0. Such a pair of forces are called balanced forces. So balanced forces do not change the state of rest or state of motion. However, they can change the size and shape of the object. How do you understand this? Like let me say, I'll take a sponge, replace this block with respect to a sponge. It will not move, but it changes its shape. It, like if you are applying in the you're trying to pull it away, it gets little extended, like you're trying to pull it away, but it will not move. So there can be change in size or shape, but it doesn't move. So this is about your balanced forces. I hope we are clear with these things. Now moving forward, now whenever I say we are applying some force on the object, the immediate thing is what happens. Like you are pushing a car, what happens? Does it move or does it stop? What happens? What is the result of my application of force? So now we are trying to discuss what are the different effects of force on an object. So these are all different possibilities. Like it need not be like all the time it has to happen. That's why you can see in every sentence there is a word can. So first thing, force can make an object to move from rest. Like if you look at the example here, the person is trying to push the car. So initially the car is in rest position, and if he is able to apply a bit of sufficient force, he may be successful in moving the car. So we say that force can make an object to move from rest. And the other way is also true. Like now the car has started and we have accelerated the car. Let us say we are moving towards our destination, or we are moving towards a traffic signal, and there is a red signal. Now what do? You apply the brakes. So your application of brake is nothing but application of force. So now in this case, your force is stopping the car. And the same way, now you can observe the goalkeeper is trying to stop the goal being kicked there, the football being kicked into the goal post. So this is also application of force. He is applying force on the ball so that it doesn't pass through him, or he doesn't concede a point to the opposition team. And you can see the other diagram, the other figure here, a person cycling. So if he applies more force, he can increase the speed of the bicycle, right? And sometimes we have to apply force, like let us say we are moving across a curved road. So you have to apply the force on the handle of the bicycle, and in that way you change the direction of the object. So we can change the direction, we can change the speed, we can make an object move, we can make an object stop. And finally the other one is, and you can see it here, uh, a chapati or a puri, something is rolled there. So by applying force you're changing the shape of the object. So this is also one of the effect. And you can see in the game of cricket or any other game, the ball is being handled with the bat. So there are many things happening here. Just try to understand. The object is actually in motion. Obviously it is in motion, but when we hit with the bat, what happens is the speed of the ball increases. Sometimes it may decrease also, but when I'm talking about, let us say we are trying to hit a sixer, what happens when we hit a sixer? The ball is coming with some speed and we are imparting more momentum to it, and the speed increases. And also there is change of direction. The ball is coming towards the wicket and we are altogether changing the direction with the help of bat. Of course there may not be any change in the shape of the object, but there is change in the speed, there is change in the speed direction. So in this way there can be sometimes all the effects on the same object simultaneously, and sometimes there may not be any change when you apply force. For example, you try to hit a wall with your fist. Can you observe any of the following effects? Possibly no, unless you are something like a Hulk or somebody, I don't know. Then there is change in the shape of the object. I mean, the wall may break. Otherwise, it is same. So that's why you have to remember the forces or any force which you apply on the object can cause these following effects. So these are the effects of force. And now moving ahead further, these are different examples. You stretch a rubber band. Now it's up to you to decide what is the different effect which are caused. You are pressing a sponge, squeezing a spring, all these things. This is nothing but you apply force and there is change in the shape of the object. Now there is something called as property of elasticity. Elasticity is something you apply force on the object and remove the force, the object regains its original shape. Then you say that the object has got elasticity. If it is not returning to its original shape, you say it's inelastic. Now let us understand this with this slide here. You say you're applying force on the glass, it breaks into pieces, you cannot regain the shape, tearing a piece of paper, crushing an empty Coke can. So all these things, they do not regain their original shape. That means you're applying force and they're permanently deformed. So they are called inelastic. So remember, elasticity is a property wherein the object can regain its shape, and inelasticity, the object cannot regain its shape. Now moving forward, we can classify the forces basically into two types: contact forces and non-contact forces. Very simple to understand. Contact forces, the forces are exerted by one object on the other when they are in physical contact with each other. I mean to say there is a physical touch between them. Like examples are muscular force, force of friction. We will deal into the examples in detail. Non-contact force, on the contrary side, the forces exerted by an object are there is no contact. Like many examples, like magnetic force, you bring two magnets close together, they move away. You're not touching them, they move away. They're repelling. So it's a non-contact force. Electrostatic force and even gravitational force. We'll look into it in detail in the next slides. Now coming to contact forces, the first thing is muscular force. So muscular force is exerted by the muscles of our body, and we use muscular force to do many other activities in our daily life. Like you drink water, you lift the bottle, and you move a chair, you whatever you're trying to move around, it's all with your muscular force. So animals like bullock carts, horses, camels, etc., we all use they're all using their muscular force. You can see the examples down here. So this is all about muscular force. And then moving forward, we have got friction. So this is an elaborate topic, but let us understand in a simple manner. Friction is something which opposes the motion of object. Like I'll give you a simple example. uh, any game of cricket or maybe basketball, volleyball, whatever, you throw the ball, finally let us say you hit a ball for a boundary or for a sixer, the ball rolls down on the ground, finally it stops because there is some force acting on it in opposite direction, because of which it is coming into rest, and this force is friction. So friction always opposes the motion of object. So if the object is you're trying to move an object towards right, friction will act towards left so that it will slow down. So friction depends on many factors like smoothness of the surface and the amount of force which you are applying, the characteristic of surface, all those things. But right now we just have to understand that friction is the force which opposes the motion of the object. That's all. I hope I'm clear. Now moving forward to the other kind of forces, non-contact, it's very simple. Magnetic force is given here. So you can see the figures A, B, C, D here. There is force of attraction A and B, unlike poles that attract, and it's basically non-contact. You're not touching them, but the force is existing. So that's why you say it's non-contact force. And the other one is C and D. They're repelling. They're moving away. So you can say A and B, they are pulling towards each other, and C and D, they are pushing away each other. So in this sense, it's a non-contact force. Force is existing and there is no contact between the objects. So magnetic force is the best kind of example. The other one is electrostatic force. So we are very familiar with this kind of method or technique. We all used to have fun with this. You rub the comb with the dry hair and bring it closer to dry pieces of paper. The paper pieces start clipping and they get attracted to your comb. What is happening? If you look behind the science, look into the science behind this, it is basically there is a charge transfer which is taking place, which is making a pieces of paper to get attracted towards the comb. So, and anything related to charge is basically electricity or electrostatic force. We'll study it in detail later on. So that is why electrostatic force is exerted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body. Your electrostatic force behaves in the same way like magnetism. Like poles repel, unlike poles attract. The same principle applies here also. Like charges repel and unlike charges attract. So this is how your electrostatic force works out. And moving forward is gravitational force. So we are very familiar with this. Now whatever force may act or not act on the object, but always gravitational force acts on the object as far it is on the earth. So how do you define gravitational force? Gravitational force is something which is exerted by the earth on all the objects. It's a simple way to understand. There are more details to it. We'll do it maybe later on. But right now understand it is a kind of attractive force. A gravitational force is always an attractive force, and a heavier object, as we have discussed, force involves interaction of two objects. So the heavier object tends to attract the lighter object. So in gravitational force, the two objects are, one is heavier and the other is lighter. If one is heavier, it will attract the lighter. For example, compared to earth, we are all very tiny. So earth is very massive, and earth attracts all the objects towards itself because of its heavy mass. So in that sense, gravitational force is exerted by the earth, right? So a coin or pen falls down, or everything which is falling down can be attributed to gravitational force. So this is about your gravitational force. And then the next topic is pressure. We'll try to understand pressure in the next class.